right there in the cemetery, cherry blossom, in the midst of death, new life. Completely intertwined with the out-breath and in-breath. A sense of life and death are not actually the opposite of each other. They're completely, fundamentally intimate with each other. That's why the engaging with death is an enlivening of our appreciation for life. And yet we tend to see them as opposites. That's one of the reasons that we might think of engaging with, reflecting upon death, practicing with death, Maranasati, as morbid and depressing, like we said earlier. That's why we might find fear and resistance in what's essentially a very beautiful invitation, right? To rest into the out-breath, to dissolve into that momentary silence and stillness. And in the contemplative traditions, that's very much recognized as what happens in most cases when we really engage with impermanence, of which death is the most kind of stark expression, is that what we tend to see first is, the endings, the loss, the disappearance. When we track the fact that everything is constantly dying, everything is constantly disappearing. Everything we've ever known, where is it? Every experience we've ever had, gone. The trajectory of our own lives. Each morning, another moment in the mirror. Each morning, another momentary humiliation. What's happening? And that sense of being somehow destabilized, upset, in a kind of existential way by the fact that, all of this is a constant process of losing, relinquishing. And when if we engage with that, really, often the first phase or the first face of that contemplation is the discomfort, the challenge, of that sense of loss. Right? And then we start to see endings everywhere. Contemplating this, and somebody gives us flowers, and we see they're already compost. They're already on their way to fading. And that can feel, of course, uncomfortable, and can make us want to, come away from or bounce off or leave aside the truth of that reflection. But the importance of staying with it is because then so that we actually then also quite naturally start to see the other face of that truth, which is that everything's constantly renewing, enlivening. And then we see that, in this compost, there's already flowers. And the sense that actually those, like I say, are not opposites, they're completely intimate with one another. And the more graciously we can allow our experience to end, the more we can allow our thoughts to fade, the more we can allow our impulses to be met and felt and pass through, the more we can actually give ourselves to the loss of everything, the ending of everything, the changing of everything, the disappearing of everything. And equally with that, the more vivifyingly the more naturally, the more fluidly, the more enliveningly, the more juicily, the more beautifully we can receive and live as an expression of the fundamental kind of fecundity of life, the fundamental fertility of life, the fundamental dynamism of life, the fundamental generativeness, the fundamental creativity. Oh, life, life, life. And so, like in that previous practice, we focused on just allowing ourselves to to die into the out-breath, to taste the silence and stillness at the end of the out-breath. And you may have got a sense of the degree to which we can resist that, as if there's something to fear there, as if there's something to fear in coming to rest, as if there's something to fear in dissolution. Yet the more we become familiar with and at ease with that, awake in that, the more we're struck with the miracle that we can allow dissolution. And then, in-breath, in-breath, in-breath. And like the way we go to sleep at night. And that too we can resist. We can get busy and kind of, or we can get into trying to sleep. I want to try to go to sleep. No. But no, what sleep, actually the dissolution of sleep comes when there's neither resistance to sleep and when there's neither trying to sleep. It's just allowing, we allow. And it's very interesting to track, right? What is it, falling asleep? The way, it's not that mind just stops functioning, it changes, it gets thinner, the thoughts are still happening, but they get more diffuse, they become kind of like finer threads threading out until we dissolve into sleep. And then the miracle, that the next morning, we actually reconstitute in some way. Amazing, that we disappear into sleep, and then we come back, we kind of know who we are. Right? And then, except sometimes you don't, and it seems to happen often if you sleep at an unusual time of day you're not used to, or maybe you're staying with friends and you're sleeping in an unfamiliar room, and you know those moments where you wake up and for a moment you don't know where you are, you don't know if it's morning or afternoon, you don't know who you are, you don't know when you are, you don't know anything. And how easily, if we're not, that becomes a kind of panic for people who try to reconstitute the familiar. No, but where am I? When is it? Oh yes, I'm in that place and it's that time of day. As if that makes everything all right. It's just interesting to actually, again, make a practice of the dissolution and the re-emerging, going to sleep, just letting things fade. One of my very early teachers spent time in a Zen monastery in Japan, and one morning the teacher, after a little interview with the teacher, and the teacher asked him, "Last night, did you fall asleep on the in-breath or the out-breath?" Yeah. Just the invitation to to track the way consciousness fades, to track dissolution, to track endings. And that's why I'm speaking about it now. It's like to normalize the fact that to track endings can lead to this kind of bleak feeling that, everything's ending, everything's rotting, the flowers are already turning to compost. Oh my God, what's the point? And the point is, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. So that in the midst of the dissolution, in the midst of the turning to compost, there's really room to know ourselves as an expression of this constant renewal, this constant renewal, this constant renewal.